Good evening. It is Friday. It is Sunday night. Hope you guys are having a good night. It is been a long weekend for me. I don't know about you guys. We got a long week ahead of us. And I just wanted to get out here, do a stream, because it's been a while since I did one of these, I don't know, just talk to you guys type of stream. And people are like, oh, you need some more like harder music. Maybe next time. Should we do country music next time? Or should we do rock music next time? Or should we do some classical music? Or should we go back to the lo-fi? Let me know what you want to do on the music. I like this type of music. It kind of hypes me up before I go on to stream and I talk to the internet and I talk to the camera, I talk to you guys, because without it, I'm like, I'm tired. It's like end of the night. And I hear something a little bit hype, a little bit higher energy. And I'm like, all right, let's go. So check in, SARS. Let me know where you guys are from. And if you have any questions or anything you guys want to talk about, that's really what I want to do today. I don't have anything specific planned, although maybe there are a couple of things here and there that we'll comment on. But this is really supposed to be kind of an opportunity to ask whatever you want to ask. If there's any questions I can ask, if there's anything that you want to talk about, if there's anything that you want to hear me speak about, this is the opportunity to do it tonight. And if you guys like this, we'll do this again more and more in the future. I'm trying to work out doing this online from home stream type of thing and doing it live. I'm trying to do more and more of it. If you guys have noticed, we've been doing it. Last week we did one, I think about 10 days ago on Friday night. That was the first time we did it with Peter. And then we did one last Wednesday. We did one on Thursday. No, we did one on Thursday. We did one on Friday, 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And then we're doing this solo stream today. And we'll do a few more moving forward. The reason I'm trying to get used to this is because my studio that I typically record out of, I think I'm going to have to move pretty soon. We've had like this water leak that's been going on in the studio for the last, I don't even know. I've had this water leak in the studio for the last 6 months, year, and it's starting to build up all this mold. And there's like mold spores in there. I'm in there all day long. I'm like breathing it in, and it can't be good for me. I think that's why I'm like so clogged up all the time. I think it's from all the mold. So I'm pretty sure I'm gonna have to move my studio. And if I have to move my studio, then I'm probably gonna be down a lot. So I'm trying to get used to doing this online because we may have to go to this for a long time. Drew Huntley says, why you go pee in my Coke? I don't know what it means. Is that a joke? Is that a meme? Like pee in my Coke. But I do feel like I've been doing a lot of blow lately because I'm like all congested and I've been sniffling a lot and like I'm all backed up. So sometimes I sound like shit. I don't know why. So I'm not doing the Hunter Biden. Let's see what else we got here tonight. I'm going to try to get through these as I can. It's not easy, but here we go. Peter is not here today, but he will be back in the next few days. How do I do this? I'm like usually have, let's see. Matt, what happened to your car? I have coworkers, explorers, and nobody has ever had those issues. I think the dealership is scamming the fuck out of you. If you guys know or don't know, I had this problem with my Ford Explorer. I have a Ford Explorer. Can I make this bigger or what? Oh, shit. So I have this Ford Explorer ST, and I've told this story in the podcast, but basically what happened was the car started emitting some sort of like white smoke at cold start. I brought it in, found out that there is like this huge problem with it. They had it for a month. It was a bunch of bullshit. Eventually they had to change my entire engine pretty much. And it's my second Ford Explorer ST. The first one that I had also had a transmission issue. So it's my second powertrain issue that I've had in the car. And it's a huge pain in the ass. The car runs fine now, but I'm probably gonna get rid of it soon. Thank you for asking. I don't know. I'm 2 for 2 on these Explorer STs. I don't know if it's just the STs and the Explorers are fine, but I've had a 2020 Explorer ST and a 2023 Explorer ST, and both have powertrain issues, and it's been a huge pain in my ass. So, why I like the car. My wife is Japanese. I'm trying to explain to her that they are going to import mass amounts of immigrants, and what is happening right now with the sister cities is not innocent. I don't know if they're going to import mass amounts of immigrants. I think that there are people that are really upset in Japan with what's going on, but the reality is that they do have an issue, and they do have a population problem, and they have a birthright problem, and they need more people to work because the pyramid is so inverted. So I don't think they're going to mass deport people, but I do see the growth of people online being really upset about it, especially in Japan. I hear from it all the time. People are fed up with it, but I think that's where it ends. I think that's how it ends in like almost all these countries that have a lot of these mass immigration problems, is that they make it seem like they're going to do something. They make a big show about it, kind of like at the Hyundai factory. If you want to talk about the Hyundai factory, we can talk about it later. But at the end of the day, the reality is that people don't want to get rid of cheap labor, and everyone's fighting for it. And I don't see them leaving anytime soon. Ian, thank you very much. But I think it's just gonna be harder for them. I think the extreme right of Japan is really pissed off, and they're just gonna cause more problems. And I think it's gonna become a big issue, but I don't think they go mass deport everybody. I just don't see that happening. What is this? Watch out for the feral Jews. Yes, always in top of mind, bro. Let's see what else we have here. Mold is death. Yeah, man. That mold, I have it in my office, in my studio. I think I have it in my house also, because I live on this lake, and it's been pretty. I think I have it at home too. I think I'm just like in mold all the time right now. So I'm in a really weird spot where I think I have to move my studio and office, and I need to move my house. It's like a lot of stuff going on at one time. It's actually a huge pain in the ass. I don't know how to deal with it. I've been like kind of pushing it off, but I think it's one of these problems that I'll have to deal with like really hard, like very soon. And that's going to be really disruptive to my life, you know? Matt's been hanging out with them CIA boys too much. I don't really hang out with the CIA boys. I know a couple of those alleged CIA people. I don't really hang out with them. Actually, I haven't been speaking to them very much. I don't know what happened. I think like, I stopped doing my stuff on Instagram, these short clips I used to make. That's really kind of what got me known. And because of that, I'm not getting the views and attention that I once was. And because of that, the people that were kind of like latching on because they wanted the kind of parallel attention, they kind of just stopped reaching out to me, which is fine, like not a big deal. But I think that's what happened. Otherwise, I don't know. The couple of guys I know, like I just don't talk to them anymore. Let's see. Dehumidifier can help depending on the severity of the leak. Dude, it's bad in my office. It's bad. Will's in the chat. He'll tell you. It smells like mold now. It's getting horrible. Ian, my brother in Christ, you need a dehumidifier. I do. I have them in my house. We have like one of those tiny ones in the office, but it's just every time it rains, it leaks, and there's nothing we can do about it. It's just not going to fix. I'm trying to start a farm-to-table dog farm. What was the most delicious dog breed, or is dog eaten due to availability and not taste? I don't know what the most delicious dog breed is, but I do know that they are bred specifically to be eaten. I do know that typically people eat dog in the winter, or no, in the summer when it's hot. I guess it's supposed to be good for your blood and bird circulation. I think you're supposed to be trying to be funny and joke, but I've seen like dog farms before in Korea, which is kind of weird because I'm a huge dog lover, but at the same time, like they're like farms. I don't know. It's weird. Not my thing. But I think in Korea, they're like banning the eating of dogs now because of public outreach. Oh, there you go. So I don't think they're allowing it anymore. So I don't know what breed is the best. I think they're just, I don't know. I don't know what to call them. What is the hardest part about fighting evil Jews? The hardest part about it is that there is a lot of... The hardest part about fighting the people that you want to fight is that they are very good at what they do. And not only are they really good at what they do, is that they have kind of this nationalistic belief that they are better. And because they feel they are better, there is a kind of synergy where they work together. And the reality is that like Americans don't do that very well. Like this cohesive working together thing used to be an American thing. It's not much of an American thing any longer. Other countries don't do it that well. I think the biggest example of that is I was watching sports. I was watching soccer the other day. And it was yesterday. And it was United States national team versus Korean national team. I was watching that game. And I was thinking about it. Like, why does the United States suck at soccer, international soccer? Because international soccer is probably the biggest game in the world, right? Biggest sport in the world. Americans love sports. But why does the United States suck at soccer so much? Like all the other countries, the United States didn't make the World Cup last World Cup. And all the other countries that are in it are like tiny countries with a fraction of the resources of the United States and a fraction of the qualified athletes of the United States. But yet the United States can't win. It's not a physical thing. It's not a money thing. It's really a teamwork thing. American athletes and Americans in general, not you specifically, but as in general, just are less nationalistic than other countries. Other countries and other sports players, especially if you're talking about soccer, they're willing to work for free pretty much just for the pride of the country and just to win. And you get your reward after you win, if you win. And your life changes if you win. But in the United States, it's not like that. You know, like they want you to become a star before. And being famous and having attention and being a star and selling tickets is more important than like the cohesiveness of the country and the message. And you see it every day in our daily life. So I think that's the hardest part, is that the Jews work together really well. They don't charge each other interest. They treat everyone else poorly, but treat each other well. Like Americans don't do that. And if, you know, it's like that idea of like, if everyone's working not together and you're trying to fight a unit that's in cohesion and working step by step, then it's really hard to beat. So until America comes together and kind of comes with a national identity of like actual pride, other than like, hey, we're bombing a bunch of people, but like something culturally that binds people together, it's gonna be really difficult. And this is a problem that America has, is that, you know, America is not like, it's really hard to be like really American, you know? Do I smell and you don't? Yes. I don't smell at all. Something like 90% of Koreans don't have the gene that gives them the ability to sweat or have odor in their sweat glands or whatever it is. I don't have that. I don't sweat. I don't wear deodorant. I don't stink. If you're thinking, do I smell? Then you probably stink because you're thinking about, I don't think about if I smell or not because I don't stink. But if you're thinking, do I smell? Then you probably do smell, because otherwise... But I don't smell. All right. Right now, there are already tens of thousands of Indians and Africans preferring cheap labor. Yes, that is going on all over the world. People are actually fighting over who gets them because people need to build. People want to build all these new projects. And the problem is that they are trying to get them all. Let's see what else we have. Oh, is Nick coming on the podcast? We have been talking. I have been talking to Nick. We've been DMing a little bit. We were looking at possibly the end of the month. We wanted to get him into the studio in Atlanta. So Nick will probably come on the pod. We haven't picked an exact date yet, but we've been talking about the end of September. So look forward to that. I think giving it a little time is also good because he did a lot of shows. He was trending. His clips were everywhere. People are possibly getting a little bit of Nick fatigue. I think that's kind of the thing. So give it a little breathing room and then bring it back on. I think that'd be interesting. But that is something that we are doing. Nasty Badger says, I hate Nick Fuentes. I despise his Zionist fellow playing MAGA role. He is an actor like Alex Jones protected by intelligence? I don't know. Maybe I agree, maybe I disagree. I don't really know for sure, which is why I kind of want to speak to him and I want to meet him and I want to have a conversation with him. And then I'll kind of have a feel of, do I like actually believe him or not? That's really my goal when I meet people, is that, do I believe them? Do I find them honest and genuine? And if I find them honest and genuine, then I'm willing to give their ideas a shot. But if I feel like they're really performative, and you can tell right away if they're performative or not. And if I feel someone's overly performative, then it becomes less interesting. So I'll let you know exactly what I think after I meet him and we get him on. How do I undeal with the SARS in real life if they already hate me and talk shit about me because of contempt? Swag. Well, I don't hate all Indian people, because we have Indian people that watch and they're like, oh, don't hate me, SAR. I'm a SAR, but don't hate me, SAR. I don't hate you all. But especially in certain areas of the country, especially around the area I live, it's getting overwhelming. And the ones I like I have a couple of friends that are like, one of my best friends in high school growing up was a guy named Vishnu. He was an Indian guy. Awesome. And he had his older sister, and his older sister, Vani, was like super hot. And all the black guys liked her. And, like everyone wanted to like fight us or beat us up or like pick on us. And Bonnie would be like, no, you can't mess with Matt and Vishnu. And like, oh, thanks, Bonnie. It was awesome. But it's still annoying. There's like too many of them, and it's like they're having a hard time assimilating into U.S. population, and it's just different. I don't know what it is, but I don't know how to deal with them. I just try to avoid it. I try to avoid areas like here. There's a place called Alpharetta, which is a really nice part of Georgia. I don't go there anymore. I don't go there anymore, because if you go out, it's just like everywhere. It's just too much. I can't deal with it. It's too much. How do we take the country back? Third parties don't seem to work. This is like such a hard one. I feel like a third party would be interesting. I really do. This is something that I've thought about a lot. A third party doesn't have to win a lot, just has to win enough. A third party doesn't have to win a presidency, but a third party, if you could pick up 5, 10 congressional seats, you could actually make a difference, because you end up being that swing vote. You actually decide. Because with a two-party system, it's always a gridlock, and whoever has control of the House ends up making the rules. And that's just how it's always been. If you have a third party, it forces people to like actually debate and have good ideas. So I like the idea of a third party. I think it's possible. It's just you need someone that's really gonna mobilize. And I think we're in a really interesting part. I learned about this thing last night. I was reading about it. It's this concept called elite overproduction. It was written by a guy named Peter Turchin. And Peter Turchin was like this Russian-American sociologist, data scientist, etc. And he was going through all the historical data. And he predicted in 2010 that 2020, there would be a lot of problems and strife within the United States. And he credited that to elite overproduction, meaning that there are so many people that are fighting for elite that now there is imbalance at the top, and now there is fighting and infighting, and people are trying to overtake each other, and you can kind of see that going on. And he actually says in 2030, leading up to 2030, it's going to be the worst. So I think that could possibly be, I think with the emergence of all these types of new industries, you have the old money, you have the tech money, you have the crypto money, you have the government money, you have the defense money. You have just so much money and so many people fighting at the top to see who can be in charge, that it's creating kind of chaos. Maybe we need order, but again, the people that we think are supposed to represent us just want their own agendas in place. I think a third party is really the thing that works. I think it has to be. And the leader of the third party has to be a really good leader. Someone that really exudes honest leadership. I think that's what we lack. That's what we've lacked in this country for a long time. I think the best leaders in the world, I think the best leaders in anything actually, in general, are leaders that are selfless, that are willing to selflessly sacrifice. Meaning that, the best CEOs are the ones that don't pay themselves and pay their employees first, right? Because the people will follow you. If you are good and you're solid and you're honest and you're genuine, you have integrity at the top of the food chain, people below you end up being similar. If you are shady and you're corrupt and you do shady deals and you are disingenuous and you're performative and that's how the top of the food chain is, everyone underneath ends up following it. I think this is the biggest problem that we have in society, that all the leaders only look out for themselves. And if we had leadership that actually cared about the people that they're supposed to represent, I think there could be possible change to find who that person is and get them to the top. I think that's going to be the battle. But I think it's possible. It's a regular apocalypse. Dude, Georgia's getting bad, man. It's a lot. It's a lot. I'm not saying I hate them all, but I know why mold forms, because humidity and closed room. Yeah. Our studio window doesn't open. So that is a problem. Dehumidifier. Don't sniff the mold. It's bad. I'm trying to catch up, guys. Sorry. This chat thing. It's easier when there's no Goku. Goku is not here today. George El Haj. Thank you, bro. Appreciate it. What kind of Asian are you? Are you North Korean? No, I am. This is always an interesting question. Because when I was growing up, I was born in the United States, I was raised in the United States. But before, I'm going to say, when I was really young, people really didn't know the difference between South Korea and North Korea, right? So when I was young, people would always ask me, are you South Korean or North Korean? When I say I'm Korean. And you don't really ask that much as much anymore. But when I was young, it was asked all the time. I don't consider myself like South Korean or North Korean because I've never lived in South Korea. So I don't really relate directly to South Korea. To me, like North Korea and South Korea are both Korea. Like, what does politics have to do with it? Because they're both Korean. I don't live there. I've never lived there. I've never been there. I mean, I've been there, but I don't like have a huge connection to it other than me visiting from time to time. I would love to go to North Korea one day because I think North Koreans are just Koreans, just like South Koreans are. They're Korean. Like, they're all the same bloodline. So I don't know why, like, there's no longer this push to reunify. I think the country should be reunified. I'm a huge believer in the reunification of Korea into one country. And I think it's interesting. I've been watching, I think we've all been watching this trend in Venezuela and how they're going after Venezuela. And then you find out, well, Venezuela, of course they're going to go after Venezuela. Venezuela has the largest oil reserves in the world. And there are all these government sanctions on them and they can't trade anyone. So people in Venezuela are like dirt poor, but they have all these resources, they have all this oil. It's kind of interesting, isn't it? The countries in the world with the most natural resources tend to be the poorest. Haiti is ridiculously poor. They have a ton of natural resources and the US government is in there trying to create some sort of change. You have Venezuela, which US is trying to go in there now. They have all the oil. North Korea has a ton of rare minerals that people that are there and they're underground and they can't trade with the outside world too because of the sanctions. So I'm curious to see what would happen. They're like, oh, North Korea, look how poorly it's run, or look how everyone's so poor. Well, if you don't let a country trade with anyone else in the world, then of course a country will be poor. You don't actually know if their policies or what they're doing works or not if you blockade the entire country. Same thing with Venezuela, same thing with Haiti. If you don't let those countries, same thing with Congo. Congo is dirt poor, but they're digging up all the cobalt. Why are they so poor? They have all the minerals that they need to be rich. So I think that's interesting how that always ends up working out. How do I? Do you know academic agent? He wrote a book called Populist Delusion about elite theory. Tuition is covered in it too. He made an interesting guest one day. I don't know it, but I'm going to jot it down because I haven't I don't know about him, but I'm curious. Academic agent. I really found Turchin's writings really interesting about this idea of elite overpopulation. It never occurred to me before, but I'm gonna get this book and I'm gonna read it. Do you guys read a lot of books? I've been reading more these days. I'm trying to read more. I was reading this, Edward Bernays' Reader, Propaganda. What else do I have right now? I started reading a Confucius book, which is interesting. It is a brutal documentary, but I do have questions about it. Some of the Atlanta doesn't hold a candle to Baltimore. I like Atlanta. I like it here. I mean, I don't live that close to Atlanta. I'm probably a good maybe 45 minutes north of Atlanta. So I'm not really in Atlanta. I'm like at the border of suburbia and rural Georgia. So I'm more in a really quiet kind of area, really conservative type area. It's really quiet here, really friendly. So I'm not really like Georgian. Any thoughts on Ripple and mass adoption? Dude, I don't know why people are still waiting for Ripple and XRP. Like, dude, what else do you want to happen? They're already telling you exactly what they're going to do. They don't care about anyone's cryptocurrencies. All the cryptocurrencies end up being vaporware. They don't represent anything. None of the projects actually did anything. And the whole goal and the whole point of all of this, with all the stablecoin laws and everything they're doing, is that they're just rolling out digital currencies, central banking digital currencies, because all the banks are the ones that are going to be issuing the digital currencies from now on. They're just moving people to a CBDC system. And all the banks are going to run it. So Chase is going to run it, Bank of America is running it, Citibank's going to run it, Morgan Stanley's going to run it. Like, crypto is not what it was supposed to be. Crypto was supposed to be it was supposed to be a freedom tool so that people can trade and have commerce without government overreach. And it's the exact opposite now. Dude, I am so not bullish on crypto. I think it's going to be around for a long time, but it is not what it's supposed to be. They've totally hijacked the entire idea of it. And now it's just all speculation. And any cryptocurrency project, and there's all these altcoins like, well, we provide value and there's use cases. No, they don't. Like, the actual use of crypto as trade is like almost nothing. Like, the amount of people that use crypto to trade and have commerce goes down every day. There is one, there was this one coin that I ran into. It was called Freedom Dollar. And it was a privacy stable coin. So it's the value is a 1-for-1 with the US dollar, but it is completely private and untraceable. I really found that interesting because you don't have to worry about conversions. You don't have to worry about the speculative side of it, and you can just use it for exactly what it is. But, even if I have some, like, nobody wants it because no one actually uses cryptocurrency for like currency anymore. Do you think that we as the human race will ever grow out of countries, imaginary borders, and flags? Not a world government, but a human nation? No. I think that there are too many people that want to be in charge. There are too many people that love power. The top of the food chain, actually, they don't care about money. They don't care about like betterment of humanity or society. They care about power. And if it was one world, even if it was a human nation, there's not enough people at the top of the food chain to keep everyone happy and their thirst and desire for power quenched. So there will always be nations, because otherwise you can't have a lot of world leaders. Everyone wants to be a world leader. Everyone aspires to be a world leader, especially at the top of the food chain. And because of that, we will always be divided, because power is addicting. Power is what people want. And that will never go away. Can a country be rich in resources but poor in IQ? I mean, yeah, that's definitely possible. But why are they poor in IQ? And one could argue that they are poor in IQ because they don't have the money to educate the population. we've seen time and time again that if you take smart people and you force them and you remove their creativity and you remove them from the ability to have education and to think, and that they just have to grind all the damn time, then over time their IQ goes down. So if you have a country that's rich in resources, but they're poor in general because they can't trade and they can't sell those resources that they have, then they're bound to have a low IQ population. Thoughts on Stephen Mitford Godson's book, A History of Central Banking and the Enslavement of Mankind? I don't know that. I'm going to write down Stephen Mitford Goodson, History, Central Banking, Enslavement. I don't know that book, but I'm going to check it out and I will let you know. I've been thinking about this. Like, would you guys be interested in having some sort of like book club? Or I don't know if book club's the right word because book club sounds gay as fuck. But if we read a book over a month and then did a stream or a kind of a panel discussion where we discuss the book. Oh, it still sounds like a book club, doesn't it? But it would be interesting books like this one. I feel like this History of Central Banking and Enslaving Mankind would be an interesting book to read and discuss. Something that I've been considering, maybe be interesting to do if that's something that you want to do. Let's see here. Let's go through it. What books do you recommend? I told you I was reading this one right now. This is what I've been reading. Propaganda and the Engineering Consent. That's an interesting one. Let me see what else I have. I grabbed this Confucius book. I don't know if you guys are into like different religions and stuff. I don't know if Confucianism is a religion. It's the next one on the radar. You know, like the meme, like Confucius say, blah, blah, blah. Let me see. Confucius say, only the very wise and the very stupid do not change. This is the next one I'm reading. Let's see here. Oh, I gotta catch up. I'm so behind. I'm trying. Where's Osmond Gold? He's been gone for 6 days. That's interesting. I did not know that. I don't watch him a lot or very often, but I kind of do like him. So I did not know. Is the U.S. Society of Lawyers where people care about storytelling instead of material production? Oh, yeah. Narrative is everything. We talked about it on the podcast before, but the most interesting example of propaganda and public relations in the book of this, or Edward Bernays did, was he was working for the bacon lobby. Bacon. And he's trying to figure out how to get Americans to eat bacon. So he invented something called the American breakfast. And the American breakfast, you have eggs and you have bacon. And all of a sudden, bacon sales went through the roof. It's like how you mold the population and you engineer consent of the population to get people to do what you want to do. The whole thing propaganda. He wrote the book 100 years ago. And I believe it's like some Zionist that wrote it. They've been telling you it's really interesting. You should watch. You should read it and the whole thing would make sense. I need to earn some extra money to bring my family to the U.S. Would you hire me to fix your mold problem? I work cheap. Bro, the problem is in Georgia, apparently, if you hire people to do work, they will come and raid you and arrest you. So I will pass on the raid for now, maybe another day. But today, I don't feel like getting raided. The Creature from Jekyll Island. Is that a book? Or is that a thought? Is that about the? If you talk about Jekyll, I'm assuming it's talking about the central banking system, because that's where it was invented here in Georgia. Let's see. Is this true? Breakfast should be only eaten by pregnant women. If you're a man eating breakfast, you're probably unhealthy. I don't think historically people ate breakfast. I'm not a big breakfast eater either. Do you guys eat breakfast? I don't really eat a lot of breakfast. I usually eat my first meal a day around maybe 1 or 2 o'clock, and then I'll eat from like 2 to 8 or 9. That's kind of my window to eat. I don't intentionally intermittent fast, but I kind of just naturally do that because I don't really eat in the morning. And by the time I get around to eat lunch, it's probably like 1 or 2 o'clock most days. And I'll eat lunch at 1 or 2. I'll eat dinner like 6 or 7, or maybe 7 or 8. And then that's kind of my feeding window. Usually weekdays at least. Yeah, the breakfast thing is interesting because I've been trying to. No, I've been like so bad with my eating, and it's really difficult because it's just excuses. Once you get used to like eating shit food and you start eating a lot of carbs and a lot of sugar, then your body kind of like fiends it and you want it. So when I'm not eating that crap, then I don't actually think about it. Or do I want it or do I eat it? But all of a sudden I start eating it and then you're like, damn, it's really good. And then you start eating it more. Like I think I had fast food twice last week, which is crazy. Like I was just like busy, didn't have a lot of time to eat. I'm just going to grab fast food. And I ate McDonald's one time. I had McDonald's breakfast one day. And then the following day, I had a chicken sandwich at McDonald's. So I had McDonald's like back-to-back days. My wife doesn't know that shit. She'd be so mad at me. Based on what's in the Talmud, do you think you can trust any followers of that belief system? It's, there are a lot of Christians in the world and that say they are Christian, but they don't really live and abide by the Bible. There are a lot of Muslims in the world and they don't live and abide by the Quran. And there are a lot of Jews in the world that don't live and abide by the Talmud. So I think based on just this question, it's really tough because there are people that are extremely religious and there are people that are like not really religious. So if that's your only basis for it, I think that's a tough argument, especially because the Talmud's more of it's not like this is how you're supposed to do it, but it's like it's like a series of discussions and ideas. So it's not like it's just not the same, oh shit. I get the idea of like why people don't like it because there's a lot of crazy shit in there. But I think it's not enough. McDonald's sucks ass. Dave's Hot Chicken gang. I've never had Dave's Hot Chicken. Although I went to Nashville. Will knows the story. Will and I went to Nashville once. I think it was like 5 or 6 years ago. And we went to this place called, what's the name of the place, Will? I went to this place called Hattie B's Hot Chicken. And we go to this hot chicken place and we go to this Hattie B's place in Nashville. And we're like, oh yeah, we eat really hot and we get like the second hottest one and we get one of the hottest chicken wing that they have. And we're eating this hot chicken at Hattie B's and we're literally crying because it is so spicy and we're eating. And I'm like eating this thing with my hands, this chicken or whatever. And I go to the bathroom after I'm done. I wash my hands take a piss, and we have to drive back to Atlanta. It's like 2.5 hours, 3-hour drive. I get in the car, and like my dick is on fire. It's like burning. And I'm like, what the hell is going on? And I realized because I was eating the hot chicken, like with my hands, like the oils like seeped into my balls, and my balls were on fire from eating this chicken. If they give you gloves to eat the really spicy chicken, wear the gloves. Recommend. Let's see, Oriana. Let's see what we have here, Oriana. Peace Dozer, YouTube channel is an 8-part docuseries on the book I recommended. It's a great watch, but a decent framework how dangerous usury is and deception deployed worldwide over and over. Yeah, we've talked about it last stream, and we've obviously done an entire episode on the idea of usury. I'm not big on the idea of loaning money. I think it's really dangerous in life. And I get it. Like, how can you have a business if you don't loan money? How can you buy a house if you don't loan money? How can you do this if you don't loan money? Like, if you loan money, then you can use a debt, and with the debt, you don't have to pay the taxes. Like, I get all of that. Of all the people I've met in my life, the people that live with zero debt live the most free. People, even if they're people that have big businesses, even if they're like multimillionaires, billionaires, know a lot of billionaires, the ones with a lot of debt live with a lot of stress. It doesn't matter how rich you are. If you have a lot of debt, you have a lot of stress. That's your body naturally telling you, usury, it's bad. Stay away from the debt. Be debt free. That's really the way to live your life. I'm telling you, you're going to live better. You're going to sleep better. You're going to have less stress. You're going to have less worries. You're going to move around freer. You have flexibility. If you want to change your job, if you want to change your house, whatever you want to do in life, if you have no debt, you have the freedom to move more freely. They control you through your debt. And when they tell you that debt is good, that is pure propaganda to convince you to assume more debt. I saw even recently, we were talking about last time, we didn't talk about it. I saw even recently that even Apple Pay is adding Apple Pay later. They are trying to get you to go into debt and finance your coffee. I saw this in Korea. That happened last time I was there. I was in Korea, and I'm like, everywhere I go, every restaurant I go to, every store I go to, everywhere you go, they ask you, when you pay with your credit card, they ask you, do you want to pay in payments or do you want to pay in full? Literally even if it's a $3 cup of coffee, it used to be $1 coffee, even if it's a $3 cup of coffee, they will ask you, do you want to put it on payments? They are trying to drown you in debt. Apple Pay is trying to drown you in debt. Klarna is trying to drown you in debt. Do not fall into the debt trap. And if you are in debt, figure out a way to get out first. It's what the United States government should do. The U.S. government, whoever comes to power next, because this president obviously doesn't give a shit about national debt. There needs to be a president that says, I am not going to do any of my own programs. The only thing I want to do is I'm going to do my best to not spend any money. And if you don't spend money for 1 term, maybe 2 terms, maybe we get this debt problem under control. We will never solve this debt problem if every time a president comes in, they want to do a brand new big, beautiful bill. It's impossible to fix this national debt problem. It's on a country side. It's on a company side. It's on an individual side. Get out of debt, stay out of debt, and don't go back in debt. And if you get out of debt, they will offer you so much money to get back into debt. Debt-free is stress-free. If a culture has been reported an average of 80% being 20 years old and younger for 4 years, what culture could be passed down? If a culture has been reported an average age of 80% being 20 years old and younger for 40 years, I don't get it, man. I'm like lost in the words. I'm sorry, I don't get it. I'm lost. You've lost me. You've lost me. In your opinion, is the only difference between a Zionist and a regular follower of that belief system the actual location where they feel they should rule over you from? I think Zionism is kind of wild because in America, actually, there are more Christian Zionists than Jewish Zionists. So, like the biggest supporters and the funders of AIPAC are Christian Zionists. Isn't that interesting? Because it's like, oh, the Jews. I get it. But the Christian Zionists are like the ones funding them. And they're the ones like giving them all this money and giving them all this influence and power. Like, we go after the smallest group and the tiny hat group. But why don't we go after the Zionists who also support them, that give them the power, give them the influence, and give them the ability to do what they do? Because they are equally bad. Because they're not even them, and they're like giving everything to them. I don't understand it, actually. And I understand like some of the really evangelical churches are pushing this ideology and they're getting it, and that's where we get the Zionism from. But I don't understand why Christian Zionists are so pro-Israel, pro-Jew. I don't understand why. I don't get it. It doesn't actually make sense to me. Like, the more and more I think about it, I don't understand it, other than the fact that it's just pure propaganda from years ago, that it's been ingrained in their minds, and they don't even know that they've been propagandists. They don't even know that they've been psyoped, and they just believe it because they believe it. They don't even know why they believe it any longer. But those are just as bad as the ones we say are bad. I think. Let's see here. Pal and Tier, watching all of you right now. I think we give the government too much credit sometimes, because I think that's actually the psyop. I don't think the government runs as efficiently as we give them credit for, because the reality is we give them very little credit. We give them very little credit in doing anything well, actually, the government. But then when it comes to surveillance and things like Palantir and whatever else, and we're like, oh yeah, they can read and listen to and do everything you want anyway. Like, I don't think they can actually. Like, do they have the technology to do it? Probably, yes. But can they actually pull it off? I don't think so. I think they lack resources. I think they lack people. I think they lack work ethic to actually be able to do these things. I think that's why Palantir was interesting to them, because it helps organize the data. But I think we give the government way too much credit. I think they are more of a spray and pray and hope for the best rather than actually target and mass surveil. I think it is a problem because that's what they want to do. That's what they're hoping to achieve. But I don't think they're great at it. I don't think they're great at anything, actually. This is like, I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, because, the government wants to do really bad shit to our lives. They want to surveil us. They want to control us. They want to take away our freedoms. They want to lock us in and make us comply. That is what they want to do. Do they have the actual aptitude to pull it off? I don't think they do. And maybe that's a blessing, because they want to do evil shit, but they're not competent enough to get the evil shit done. Possibly. I don't think they're that competent. So are they watching? Yeah, I get it. But are they really watching? I don't think they are. I don't think they're good. I don't think they're that good. I just don't. I think we give them, you have to give them a lot of credit. If you say, oh, the United States government is watching and surveilling every single American, like, it's impossible. They can't name one thing they've ever done right in their lives. All of a sudden, that's the one thing they do right. Like, I don't see it. I don't see it. Logic says no. This is the worst take by Matt ever. Eat a dick. Well, they got AI, so they don't have the resource or the work ethic. Yeah, but you need processing power to power all that AI. You need the people to run the AI. Like, you're just giving them way too much credit. I think so. I don't think they're as efficient as you think they are. Because again, they've never proven that they're good at anything. But all of a sudden, the hardest thing, the newest thing in the world, they're really fantastic at. Like, it doesn't make any sense. Like, logic says no. Could they? Yeah. Does a technology exist? Yeah. But just because technology exists doesn't mean anything. Like, have you been to I don't know, whatever bank you use? What's your online banking website like? It sucks. Whatever online banking system you have, it sucks. You're talking about banks. They have unlimited money. They literally make money off of your money. And they can't even figure out a website properly. All of a sudden, the United States is going to come and they're like be phenomenal at brand new technology before it doesn't make any sense. Can they catch up? Sure. Are they going to make mistakes all the time? I think they're going to make more mistakes than actually be good at it. Again, the government's never good at anything. They've never been. My work just installed facial recognition cameras on the self-checkouts. Yeah, the Publix I go to has them also. Where you do the self-checkout and there's a video. I think that Target does it too. I think actually, I've seen it everywhere. Now I think about it. It's a problem. All over the world, they are installing more and more cameras. But again, this is all data. This is data, this is storage. This is really expensive to manage, especially video. People aren't going to spend unlimited money to keep your face, Can you react to Rabbi A. Finkelstein and Pastor Wickstrom's hour interview, please? Let me write that down. I think the best is if there's stuff you guys want me to look at, just DM it to me on X, and we will figure out a way to have a more workable method to kind of send in videos and send in topics. We don't have one yet. We will eventually. Be patient. We're a really small team. However, Myron Gaines said Palantirs are actually really effective software when using it. Yeah, it's an effective software. It's a technology that works, but in order to use it against 300 million people requires a ridiculous amount of resources. So you say, well, why don't they do it? Why don't they build more data centers? Well, what do you think all those tech oligarchs were doing at the White House the other week? Mark Zuckerberg says, we're going to invest $600 billion. OpenAI says, we're going to invest $500 billion. Microsoft says, we're going to invest $500 billion. What do you think they're investing in? They're investing in data centers so that they can implement and process all your information, so they can use all these technologies, so they can do all the data storage. If they're building those and they're trying to build those starting now, that means they don't have the ability to do it currently. Logic. They don't need to build them if they already had them. They're building them because they currently don't have them. Do they have the technology? Yes. Do they have the processing power? And do they have the storage to do mass surveillance on the entire population? Not yet. Again, that is why they're trying to build them. If they had them, they wouldn't be trying to build them. They're trying to build them because they don't currently have them. Make sense? Matt does VPN encryption, but does believe they can watch. No, I don't say they can't watch. I just don't think they have the time, resources, or the ability to watch everyone at the same time. Those are two very different things. I'm not saying they can't. The technology too exists, but to mass surveil, not target surveil. They can target surveil. If they want to go after one person individually, they can. If they want to go after everyone together, I don't think they can just yet. Let's see. Great content. Thank you. Question: how much longer do you believe that we in the U.S. have before the ruble, yuan, and other BRICS nations' currencies collapse the strength of the U.S. dollar? 18 months? I don't think it's going to be a BRICS thing. I think this new coalition that they created in Shanghai with Xi Jinping recently, with him and Putin, I think that's actually more interesting than BRICS. BRICS is just currency. I think it's going to be bigger than just currency. I think that they're going to have a hard time until they find a way to have their own digital currency together. I think that's probably what they're going to go to, because it's really difficult to have multiple world currencies. The reason why the US currency is the strongest currency is because everyone trades against the US dollar. And as long as there's stock markets and money markets all over the world, the US dollar will be the strongest. I don't think that it will collapse the strength of. Maybe it'll be a little bit weakened, but it was overly strong, but it was going down. Currency is weird. It's interesting. It's difficult. I don't think it goes away anytime soon. I think what the United States is trying to do, what Trump is trying to do, is trying to move everything to a central digital currency. And they say, oh, we don't, this bill, stablecoin bill doesn't do central bill, Genius bill doesn't do, central banking digital currencies. But that's exactly what they're going to. They're trying to go to a central banking digital currency. Actually, almost every single country in the world is trying to go to a central bank digital currency right now. And how that plays out, we'll see. That takes time for adoption and everything else. It's going to take longer than people think. It's really not easy to move people off of one form of currency to another. So even in the United States say, hey, we're all going to go to central banking digital currency. It doesn't happen overnight. That's going to happen over a decade. Because again, there's so much cash in this system. So it is time. I think that they're setting the precedent for it. They are setting the laws and rules in place. And it becomes such a big machine that they've invested so much in that a future president can't turn around and change it. I think that's where we're headed. Is it going to change tomorrow? No way. It takes time. But are they pushing it in that direction so that we are all controlled through our currency? 100% yes. I'm going to say 2030 is a more interesting number. Isn't it really interesting how all the conspiracy theorists talk about Agenda 2030? Well, everything really is leading towards 2030. That's kind of the moment where everything collides, everything comes together. So we have a few years. We have more than 18 months, for sure, I believe. Let's see. Would you go on a comedy podcast? The Crowder Boys would love to have you on. I would love to do a comedy podcast. I think it'd be a lot of fun. I don't think I've ever done a comedy podcast before. No, I did the Hodge Twins once. I did the Twins Pod once. Is that a comedy podcast? I was on there. I don't know if that counts. They weren't that funny. But I did that. I know that they're supposed to be funny. I used to like them. I didn't like them after I met them. But I would definitely do a comedy podcast. I'm not overly familiar with the Crowder Boys, but Crowder Boys, hit me up. Let's do it. I'm not as eager to go on the really big shows anymore. I don't find them interesting. I actually don't enjoy going on there very much. It's like overly produced. It's like, they always want to know what you're going to say before you go on, actually. And they want to discuss what you're going to say before you go on. It's so performative. I find it really tiresome, not very interesting. I find the conversations extremely uninteresting. They're always worried that I'm going to say something weird. So I'm like staying away from kind of the big brand name podcasts. I guess it's good. I guess it's good for like reach and people know who you are and shit. But like as far as like actually personal interest in it, I don't enjoy them at all going on the bigger shows. So I don't know the Crowder Boys, but if they're like a legit show, I'm totally down to go do that. Let's see. Let's catch up. We don't claim the Hodge twins. They're rage baiters and lineage deniers. They're just guys they're like entertainers. They're political entertainers. I don't think that they are like, if you just consider them to be entertainment, like it's fine. They're entertaining. I think most people online are just entertainment. And if you find them entertaining, you watch them. If you don't find them entertaining, you don't watch them. Like, they're not actually adding a huge value as far as into the thought economy. And there's not a lot of people doing it. You know, I don't know if I'm doing it, but I try to be. I want to at least be like honest and genuine and just say what I really think. I don't think they're just well thought out, but you know, it's fine. Let's see here. We do not claim those weirdos. Dear leader has UFOs. I don't even know if I believe in UFOs. Oh, Steven Crowder. I don't really know much about Steven Crowder. Many of the podcasters are compromised. It's true. I know a lot of them. Podcasting is just another form of media. A podcaster is not going to be any more honest or genuine or unsold out than a news person, than a political commentator, than a news show, than entertainer. Like, it's all the same category of people. Actually, the largest podcasts in the United States, they're all represented. All the largest podcasters in the United States, they're all represented by United Talent Agency, UTA. Everyone has a UTA deal. They do the entertainment, they do the sports, and they do the podcasters. And most of the conservative podcasters are actually at UTA. So, like, oh, like they would never work with those guys, or they would never work with the tiny hats, or they would never work with the liberals. Well, they do. They all do. Every single one of them has a UTA deal. That's where they make the money. That's why you see the same podcasters on the same podcaster shows, because they're all represented by UTA. They all work for United Talent Agency. So it's not that they're compromised. They're literally entertainment because they're represented by an entertainment agency. They're just entertainers. And once you realize they're just entertainment, then like you just don't take them as seriously. I don't really watch or listen to too many of them anymore because it's just too much. Was Hitler right about the international financier, and do they run America today? I've been thinking about this one a lot. Not about Hitler, but about do they run America? And I don't think any one group, like I've talked about this before, you know, like how everyone is going towards this, you know, the globalist future and vision that they want is this one world government, new world order, right? We've all talked about, we all heard that idea before. One world order, new world government. But I think people think that if it's a one world government, actually at the top of the pyramid, there's only one person, one group that sits at the top of the pyramid. And I think people assume everyone has their own theories on who already sits atop that pyramid. But the reality is that I don't think that battle has yet been settled. I think there are a lot of factions of groups and people and elites that are fighting for that top spot. I think that's why we see so much chaos in the world right now, because everyone is fighting for that top spot. It's the same idea that we talked about earlier about this overproduction of elites. There are too many groups of elites right now that they're not in one cohesive unit. They're all their own faction of elite, and they're all fighting one another to sit atop. So I think the Zionists and the Israel lobby is like one faction. I think the technocrats and those guys are their own faction or multiple factions. I think like the Middle East oil money, like the Qatari and the UAE and whatever, they are forming their own faction. I think the Chinese are their own faction. I think there are multiple factions throughout the world playing kind of this Game of Thrones type of 4D chess game, like a real 4D chess game, not like a Trump chess game, but like a real chess game. And I think they're all fighting for that top spot. And I think that's why we have the chaos that we have. It's because all these factions of elites cannot decide who's going to be number one. And if you were a faction of an elite and you had unlimited money, unlimited power, would you want to just give up that right to another group? Probably not. You're going to fight for it too. I think we are living in a real life Game of Thrones situation. And I think that battle is fought online. And I think that's why certain voices, doesn't it seem like Nick Fuentes is allowed to be online more than ever? Because there are groups that want his narrative out there. Because again, it's not one group that controls everything, although they are extremely powerful. But I do think that there are many groups fighting for that top spot. That's my theory. You should have Marquette Burton on. He's acknowledged as an American-only YouTuber, the saint and the sinner. It's all about business and politics. Thank you, Frank. I will check it out. I don't consume that much media, actually. So when people are like, do you know this person on the internet? I actually usually don't. Saint and the Sinner. I'm going to check it out. I will check him out. Thank you, Frank. Let's see here. Military industry complex is the real boss. I think they are definitely one of the players also. But I don't think they are the final boss. I think there are a lot of final bosses. Actually, in a world with so much money, so much luxury, so much wealth, so much power, so much land, and so much resources, to think that there was only one group atop the food chain, it's actually extremely naive. There's a ton of them. Hey man, I found you from Andy, and I just want to say I love your honest approach. As a true independent myself, I really respect what you guys are doing on the channel. Keep seeking truth, brother. Thank you, Josh. I think when you're saying Andy, you mean Andy Frisella, because that's the only Andy's show I was on. Love Andy. I think he's awesome. I think he's great at what he's doing. Huge fan of Andy Frisella. Thank you, Josh, for hanging out. Roman Catholic Church is part of the small hats too. The Roman Catholic Church is also another group of the elites that want to sit atop the food chain. There are too many. It just goes on and on and on and on and on. Yes, the communists came up with a more sophisticated way of stealing money from us. They just print it now. Yes. Although I don't even know if they're communists. I don't know if anyone's a real communist, actually. You know? The global evil is saying it's a reality breakdown that we think man has power here. It's true. It is true. Is there a final boss, or is it just oligarchy? I think that there will be a final boss one day. I think they do fight this out. The question is, what happens to society as they fight it out? How bad does it get? I don't think we're in the worst of it. I think that when they really start to fight, I think everyone's positioning themselves for a final battle. That's what I actually think it is. I think people are positioning themselves. You see people creating alliances and breaking alliances and creating alliances. I think that eventually we will hit an impasse where things collide. And I think that's when it gets really dangerous. I think we are going to get there soon, because there is an agenda, there is a goal that they want to achieve 2030, possibly. But again, who sits that final atop the food chain, not been decided. Time will tell. That's going to be the most interesting story out there. When I was mature, I used to think there's a thing called Illuminati. Then I grew up and realized it's just the Jays. You know, there's the Illuminati, there's the Freemasons. It like just goes on and on and on and on forever, it feels like. It feels like it never ends, you know? Let's see. When Soju Token Generation event? I don't know yet, but we will figure something out with that soon. Go watch Europa. When was the last time? Why do you think the Epstein client list has not been officially released? Oh, that's fucking easy, dude. Because all of them are on it. Because there's so many people that are compromised that are on that list. You know, people pay a lot of money to get their names off that list and make sure it's not published. If you believe that there are a lot of rich and powerful people on this list, Epstein list, and every one of them is willing to pay a lot of damn money so that the list doesn't get released, can you imagine how much money is being raked in to keep this quiet? And you can like blackmail them forever? Come on, that list is never coming out. I think we should worry about getting lobbying banned first. Everything else will follow. Yes and no. I don't like lobbying. I don't like the way it's done, but it's also kind of necessary in a certain way and shape and form because there are too many interest groups out there. There's too many companies. There's too many people that have an agenda that they want to get pushed across. And there's finite time to reach everyone. You actually need a system in which to kind of funnel in information. Should the lobby system that we have now, where it's overly corrupt, be the one? Probably not. But does a system like that need to exist? Yeah, you need to figure out what the system is in order to fix and replace the current system. Because again, lobbying is what gets certain issues to Congress. So it's a slippery slope. I don't like the way it is. I think that AIPAC should be listed as should be registered as a foreign agent. That's for sure. I think most people believe that. I don't like the fact that when I walk through congressional halls, every congressman has an Israeli flag on the door. I think that's fucking weird. You know, like I don't think any country in the world, if you walk through their legislative body and there was foreign flags on every single door, every single population would be really pissed off. I don't understand how that's allowed. I think Project Bluebeam is planned for 26, 27. Frank, Project Bluebeam was really trending last year, right? A lot of people were talking about it, and we thought that might be a kind of a black swan event. We're seeing all these drones. We're seeing all this drone technology out there. I don't know, man. Project Bluebeam. Project Bluebeam is the idea that there will be a holograph of fake savior or whatever, and the world will all worship it, and they will ask fake alien invasion, and people will worship it, whatever. But maybe, that's possible. Anything is possible. I don't think anything is possible anymore, actually. I think everything is possible. All the crazy ideas that people think could happen to this world, I think every single one of them is possible because every single one that we thought was too crazy to happen has already happened. Love reigns supreme. Fear is for sissies. Live no fear. I believe that you should have no fear. Sad thing is, if aliens flew down right now, I believe it was just the government. Yeah, see, that's the thing about kind of this Project Bluebeam, is that there's too many people out there. I don't think it would work the way that we think, but who knows? Is Georgia a state worth moving to? I love living in Georgia. I love living in Georgia. I really do. I don't have to live in Georgia. I can live in another state because I work mostly like remote online. So I could live pretty much anywhere I wanted to. I love living in Georgia. If I could choose one place in the world to live, and I could pick up and be anywhere I want and live anywhere. Like, I love Georgia. Georgia is my favorite place to live. There's something about it. It's like conservative enough, it's diverse enough, but it's like good enough, it's like warm enough, and it is extremely low cost of living here. I love Georgia. I don't want to live in any other American state. I just want to live in Georgia. I want to live here. I want to live in Georgia. I like it. So if you like things to be cost effective, if you like kind of, I don't know, Southern hospitality, which is kind of dying out, but still here, I like Georgia. I don't like Atlanta so much, but I like where I am, kind of north of Georgia, especially if you go up towards the mountains. It's not as hot. It's not as humid. It's nice. I highly recommend living in Georgia. What happened to all the drone sightings? Those are the government drones. They were testing different models, probably. I would put all my money on the fact that there were just government drones being tested, and various drones, probably even various manufacturers, because everyone saw different things. Tennessee is a little better. I like Tennessee too. Tennessee is really nice. I like the Nashville area. I like Southeast Nashville, out by like Franklin. I think Franklin's beautiful. Bro, one bedroom in Duluth is like $2,100. Duluth is getting really expensive, but Duluth is really like, a lot of people from out of town move to Duluth, so that's why it's so expensive. I live like 30, 40 minutes north of Duluth, so like I'm in Georgia. I'm not in Atlanta or Atlanta's over. I'm like really in Georgia. You know, I think that's a little bit different. Let's see. This is funny. What are the best school options for kids in Georgia? I don't know. I send my kid goes to a Christian school. So, I mean, she's young, so she only goes a few days a week, but I send her to a small Christian school out here in Georgia. That's what I do. I don't know if I'm going to homeschool or what we're going to do yet for like real school. I don't think I'm going to send her to a public school, at least near kind of where major population is, because it's not it's not that great. But I'm in the more like quiet conservative area. I'm not as concerned about it. So it just depends on where you are, you know? What are your thoughts of the legal Korean workers being chained at Hyundai in Georgia? You know, like I'm Korean, and I live in Georgia, so I don't know anyone like that well that works in this facility, but I know a lot of people or like associated with people that are somewhat associated with this facility. This Hyundai factory in Georgia is the biggest industrial project that Georgia's ever seen. It's something like $8 billion going to it. And it's going to create a ridiculous amount of jobs outside of Savannah. Savannah's like 4 hours from me. Savannah, that area of Savannah is like a really poor, dying area. And this factory came in, the government gave it a lot of support, and they're going to build it out, and they're going to build like 8 or 10,000 permanent jobs for people. And they went in and, you know, like I'm not big on allowing a lot of illegal immigration because, you know, I like my life to be like stable. But when we were told that we're going to have all these mass deportations, I thought we were going to go after like I didn't think they'd be able to deport as many people as they promised to deport, but I thought they would at least start at like criminals, like real criminals, like dangerous people. Because we were told over and over throughout the Trump campaign, do you want there to be another Lincoln Riley? Do you want there to be another Lincoln Riley? Do you want there to be another Lincoln Riley to happen? If not, you have to figure out the illegal immigration problem because the people that are coming over are rapists and murderers. Great. I agree. Get rid of them. And then you find out they're like deporting like a minimum amount of people. Actually, they're deporting less people than Biden deported. And I'm like, wait a second, what's going on here? And then the news like, wait, why are you deporting so few people? And the right is like, hey, you promised a lot of deportations. Why don't you deport people? And I was like, hey, do you know what? I heard there's a factory that has a lot of illegal people right now. Let's go deport them. Okay, that's not the same as deporting all the criminals. And number two, they were here on like work visas. Yes, their visas may have been overextended. I get that, fine. But they were going to go back. These are not people that were like jumping the border to be here. The whole point of this whole mass migration shut down the border thing was to shut down the border and remove people and stop people from dangerous people that we don't know who they are, what they're doing, what they're going to do, to prevent those people from hopping the border and coming in and invading the country. When a company comes from overseas and they bring their workforce to build a factory because that's the only way they can build it in time, because it is a very specialized technical factory that they're building, it's not the same as taking a bunch of border jumpers. I don't think this is good. And all these, Trump is going out there saying, hey, Japan, like invest in USA, build all these factories. Hey, all these, Korea, come to the United States, build all these factories. They're gonna be like, wait a second. Why are we going to build a factory there if you're going to arrest our workers? How does that work? How do we go to your country? Because Trump is saying, hey, bring your factories here and build in America. Great. Do you guys know how to build them? No. Then should we send our people to build them? Yeah. Well, how else are we going to build these factories? Well, you can't use them. Okay. That's a weird precedent. I don't like that. And to put them in shackles like they're violent criminals, it's so unnecessary. And I get it. People should not be here illegally, but there are levels to this thing. And if you go down to South Georgia, where the Kia factory is, everyone in that part of Georgia drives a Kia. The reason why they all drive a Kia is because that Kia factory brought so many jobs and so much opportunity and so much economy to an area of Georgia that was literally dying and had nothing. And they convinced this Kia to come in and build this factory. Everyone respects them so much that they all drive Kias. It's like a local thing. Everyone in the south of Georgia drives Kias because of the Kia factory. Because although it's a technically foreign company, they build and they manufacture and they create jobs in Georgia. It was going to be the same thing there. And now you just got rid of 300 workers that were helping and overseeing the factory being built. Who's going to build this factory? What happens to those 8,000 to 10,000 jobs? What happens to all the Georgian landowners and land developers and construction companies that are waiting on the infrastructure to be built to support 10,000 new jobs? 10,000 new jobs with 3 people. That's 4,000 people. Who's going to build all that? It's going to go to shit. Either that or they're going to let it go to shit. The people that were in charge of having the raid happen, they're going to go sweep up and they're going to make money anyway. Who knows? Let's see here. Nobody likes it when ICE starts messing with their species. It's true. I'm like biased. I'm not gonna lie. You know what I mean? Like if I'm like, if they went into like a Mexican factory, a Mexican oil factory, and they took a bunch of Mexicans, or they went to Indian factory and they took a bunch of Indians, I'm like, whatever, you deserve it. Fuck you. Go. Get out of here. I don't know. Biased. Fine. Call me out. Super biased. It is what it is, I don't know. Show me your 1099s to prove you're Korean. Do you remember during the campaign season, Biden hired 87,000 new IRS agents, and Trump said, hey, why do they have so much IRS agents? Are they going to go after other people? Are they going to go after hardworking people? Why do they need so many IRS agents? Oh, we're going to give them all guns? What are they going to do with the IRS agents and all 87,000 of them? Do you remember that? Do you guys hear that they're bringing them all back? That they're actually not going to get rid of them? That we're actually going to have all 87,000 of them? Like, dude, I'm pretty sure we were promised to get rid of them. Why are we getting them back? How many times can you tell us one thing and do exactly the opposite of what you said? Why do you say no new wars and then create the Department of War and then send warships to Venezuela to start a war? Why the same week that you create the Department of War, you are sending warships to another country to start another war? And I'm thinking, holy shit, we were promised no new wars. I am so over this war thing. It is going to be more money, more headache, more social strife. It's fucking disappointing. It really is. It's really disappointing. Let's see here. Bro, I forgot about the IRS. Dude, this one's a wild one, isn't it? Like, they literally said they're going to get rid of these 87,000 agents. And they made it such a big deal about these 87,000. I can't believe God is going to... Dude, what is going on? What are they doing other than create wars, give the technocrats more power, more money, build more surveillance, build more vaccines, give more money overseas, not actually fight criminals, start bringing National Guard and federal troops into cities? That is not a good thing, everybody. Normalizing the idea of mobilizing federal troops into local cities is an horrible, horrible idea. You do not want the federal government having the ability to go into your state and go after people. This ends horribly. It doesn't matter if they're being effective or not. The ends do not justify the means in this situation. It does not. You cannot send federal troops into the cities. If Trump can do it, the next guy can do it, the next guy can do it. And what president, once a previous president has done it before, is going to say, hey, do you know what? I'm going to give back this power that I now have. They never give back the power once they have it. You can't give it to them to begin with. This is a extremely dangerous precedent that's being set, and people are supporting it, and it's fucking crazy. They never give back the power once they take the power. They did 9/11. They created TSA. They created Homeland Security. That's never going away. Now they have mass surveillance, and they are mobilizing federal troops within the borders. That is not going to go away. It is a really bad fucking idea. And if you're supporting it, stop supporting it, because it ends badly for everybody. You're worried, oh, Palantir's going to track all us. Well, if they do, and if they can, and if they eventually do in the future, this gives them the power and authority to do something about it. Pre-crime, it's a thing. Do you really want to get arrested by the federal government for pre-crime? By AI-driven pre-crime? It's wild. You cannot let the federal government arrest people in the borders domestically. It is a horrible, horrible, horrible idea. Cannot let them do it. J-Reg, thank you, bro. William Illick, it was a trick to build police state and take our rights privacy. Also to force mass AI surveillance order out of chaos. FYI, Trump's earshot fake. Agree. This idea of... That's why I'm really questioning this immigration thing. Because without this border invasion... I know, people hate to hear this. Without the premise of border invasion, they would not be able to do the things that they do. Think about that. If there was no border invasion, which we were told and propagandized to believe for the last 15 months, 16, 18 months, if we did not believe that there was a border invasion with violent criminals flooding over the border, If we did not believe that, they would not be able to roll out the surveillance. They would not be able to roll out the police state. They would not be able to do any of these things that they're doing now. They're only possible because we all believed in the border invasion. If there was no border invasion, they don't get to do these mass surveillance, AI mass surveillance, police state things. They can't do it without the border invasion. So is it possible that the border invasion is manufactured in order to create the police state that they're creating right now? And I know, and you're like, dude, I've seen the videos of thousands of migrants. I know, I've seen those too. How many have you seen? You've seen the same 10 videos over and over again. They're talking about 30 million people came over the border. How many people have you actually seen? 20,000? Do you know how many of those videos need to exist if it's 30 million people? The amount of videos that should be available on the net, if it was 30 million people, it should be unlimited, but it's not. Look. Without the border invasion, you don't have the mass surveillance and all this other shit that they're doing. You needed one to create the other. You create one problem so that you can give them the solution. Make you feel unsafe so they can come and protect you and save you. That's what's going on, I believe. Because otherwise, where are these illegal immigrants? Why aren't they being deported? Why are they deporting less than Biden? If there were so many that came over the last 4 years over Biden, removing them all would be easy. They wouldn't have to go to a factory to take people that are actually working, because there are so many illegal people and they're everywhere and they're in the streets and there's thousands of them everywhere. Why can't you get rid of them? Because you can't even find them. If there were that many, you'd be finding them. There should be news every single day that, oh, we found 5,000 here, we found 10,000 here, we found 50,000 here. It would have to be at that rate to justify the 30 million people that they said were. It just doesn't exist. But they sold you the fear to roll out the mass surveillance police state. It's the only thing that makes sense. The time is late here. Oh, you should upload a video on a time that suits all time zones. 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I do it at 10 p.m. because it gives me an opportunity to get my family to bed. It gives me an opportunity to get my daughter to sleep, be a good dad. It also gives an opportunity for the West Coast to chime in, a little bit of the East Coast to chime in. And we also have people all over the world trying. There is no time that is good for everybody. So I'm just going to pick the time that's good for me. Sorry, not really. They could go to St. Cloud and Minneapolis, Minnesota and find hella illegals. They would find some. It's not as many as you think. I really don't. Look, again, everything is staged. They are all in on it. All. I don't know if, well, everything is staged. I agree. They're all in on it. I think I don't think real war is a physical war. I think the real world in this modern day and age is the psychological digital war that we're living. I think we are living and working and being online is the battlefield. To think that war is analog when everything else in the world is digital actually doesn't make any sense. Everything in the world is digital except war. Like, come on, guys. Does that make sense? Everything in the world is digital. War is digital because everything in the world is digital. And therefore, it is just narrative versus propaganda versus one group of elites trying to get their propaganda out versus one group of elites getting their propaganda out. And we're just in the middle getting fucked from every angle. That's what it is. It feels like they're ill on it together, or correction, they're all in on it, just not necessarily all in on it together. I think they're all in on it, but separately. And I don't think it's staged. I think everything is staged, but staged individually, not collectively, if that makes sense. If you haven't, check in SAR. And if you want to know what SAR is, go ask someone in the chat. Maybe someone will be nice and tell you. But, do not redeem. Let's see here. They don't care about immigrants. They want foreign cheap workers. That is being done for us. We are a real threat to tech billionaires. The elites, they want cheap labor. It is. They want cheap labor. We've talked about this on stream before. The cities in the world that they consider to be the top cities to aspire to be: Dubai, Qatar, all built on cheap labor. That's how it works. That they're seeing it all over the world, that you can build a huge modern city in exactly what you want. You can make everything 15-minute city like, and you can do it really cheap, you can do it really fast. And the only way to do it is to bring in a lot of immigrants. Everyone's fighting for it because everyone wants to go this model. Man, this guy really wants to think there is no collective conspiracy. Man, I want you to think whatever the fuck you want to think. This is what I think. You can think whatever you want. The idea that all the most richest and most powerful people in the world are all doing the same thing at the same time and are like willing to sacrifice their own pride for the benefit of a collective group of people, it makes no sense at all. The most powerful people in the world care about themselves and their individual power, not their collective power. So if you think for some reason that the richest people in the world are like, oh yeah, let's just all agree and one guy will be in charge, like that's the dumbest shit ever. Makes no sense at all. People with power will power for themselves, not for others. SAR means when any person says sorry, they sound like, oh, don't. Muhammad, bro. Do not redeem. Muhammad, do not redeem. Do not redeem, Muhammad. Oh my gosh, dude. Someone kick him out of the chat. Do not redeem. Do not redeem. Dio says, maybe the numbers are fudged, but I believe that there are many illegals. Say you're right. What is the goal, the end game, if you will, of the overarching Palantir police state? Well, I'm not saying that there's no illegals. There are illegals. And historically in the United States, there's always been anywhere from 10, 11 to about 13, 14 million illegal people in the country at all times. Even under certain presidencies, if it's a low immigration, then it's like 10 or 11. Under a president that has a lot of illegal immigrants, then it's closer to 13, 14. Say Biden was like over that number. So if we went from 10 to 15, then that'd be 5 million more. That would make it the most illegal immigrants ever in this country, ever. That's still a lot. But 15 million, and when their average is 12, is not a border invasion. We were told over and over again, even guys like Trump or Tucker, like, oh yeah, like 30 million illegals here. Like, oh, that's not true. 30 million people came over the border. I don't think that's true. That's a huge number. That doesn't make any sense. And all the people that told you that, dude, I've known people that have been down the border, like be there, like there are small towns near the border. Okay, here's the best example of it. This is the best example I have to prove the number. If there were 30 million new illegal immigrants in this country, there should be That means a 10% increase in the population of the country. If the population increased by 10% with illegal people that are unhealthy, that are not living in good conditions, that don't have personal doctors, you should see a spike in emergency room visits. You should see a spike at the hospitals because there are more people without healthcare and proper health treatment. But there is no report of spikes at emergency rooms. Okay? Then where are they getting treated? Are they just dying in the street? I don't think so. We would have heard about that. We would have seen that. Why is there no spike in the resources that would require to take care of these people? How come there's no spike there? It has to exist, but it doesn't. I've talked to several doctors and emergency room people, nobody sees it. It doesn't exist. Only reason why certain hospitals may be more is because a lot of hospitals are closing down. Why would you close hospitals when you have brand new ring of people that the government is paying for the healthcare on? Remember, like, oh yeah, all the illegals, they come here and they get free healthcare. Like, what's up with that? Well, they get free healthcare. Why would the hospitals want them? They get free healthcare. Why are the hospitals closing? They just got 10 million new customers. Why are they closing? 30 million new customers. Why are they closing? Doesn't make any sense. What is the goal, end game fuel of the overarching palantir police state? When you have a population, the easiest way to control a population is to control them. The easiest way to control them is to control not only their movement, but their freedom of words, freedom of thought, freedom of currency. That's how you control a population. You don't want to control them via violence. It's very messy. It's very difficult to do. It becomes a huge hassle. You don't want to physically do it to people. You want to control them ideologically. You want to control their movement. You want to control what they do. You want to prevent things from happening before they happen, pre-crime. Plus, if you have all this technology and you're going to spend all this money to build out all this infrastructure for all this new AI, you have to use it. You're going to build all these surveillance systems and invest all this money into all this data and all these tools, and then you're never going to use it? They're building to use. They just need an excuse. You can't buy a new toy and not use it, you know? Getting a population comfortable is the easiest way. Don't have them think, move, be active. It's not even about being comfortable. You know? Comfortable is actually more difficult. The comfortable is what got us here. Comfortable is what gives you the ability to lax and get them the ability to move and make their moves and create these systems in place. But actually, if they want to implement their end goal, which is full control of society, they're no longer going to let you be comfortable because they need a little bit of the chaos to implement their systems. They're going to want the cities to get so dangerous, so uncomfortable, that the population asks for more surveillance. That's the easiest way. Make it so uncomfortable for the population that they say, oh, I don't feel safe here. There's too many guns. There's too many illegals. There's too many people on the street. There's too much violence, too much shooting, whatever. I feel uncomfortable. I feel unsafe. Please, government, can you please come help us and save us? Please protect us. Can you install another camera on that street corner? Can you install another camera at my entranceway? Can we make sure that all the cars have monitoring devices? Can we make sure that everyone has an app? Hey, do you know what? Let's give everyone a digital ID that they have to carry at all times to make sure that they belong in the city. They make it so dangerous and so uncomfortable to live that you welcome the surveillance, that you ask for the surveillance, that you beg for the surveillance. Actually, the most surveilled buildings in a city, the most luxury buildings in a city are the ones that are most surveilled. They're synonymous with one another. Luxury means safety. You want luxury? We're going to give you more surveillance. The Palantir police state is for us. Palantir was built after TIA model to assess threat Americans' weapons in case there's uprising. Mostly foreign military were on the list. True. We're just saving it for defense. For your safety. For your safety, we will. It's everything. We're here from the government. We're here to help, right? I love Korean food. You and your wife probably know it, right? I love Korean food. I eat Korean food like, I'm going to say like 75% of my diet is Korean food, actually. What is your solution to Christian Zionism? I don't know, man. I don't know. The hard part about this is that, you know, the missionaries from the United States that went out all over the world and they built churches in places like Korea and in China and in Africa and in South America, all these missionaries were mostly from the Zionist denominations, the Methodists, the Presbyterians, the evangelics. They sent out the most missionaries, and the United States sends the most missionaries in the world. And it's always the Zionist denominations that do it. So Christian Zionism is spreading throughout the world. And I am Christian. I want people to be Christians, but I'm not a Zionist at all. Puts me in a really good place. Also makes it very difficult to find a church. It's like the one thing I ask before I go somewhere. Let's see here. Using religion. Trying to catch up. I'm trying to catch up. This is true. We are not. Definitely not. Every TV, phone, laptop, robot, vacuum, door, car. I saw this thing in Ohio the other day, where they're trying to pass a bill where the energy companies can throttle your energy use in your house, and the energy companies can control your thermostat at home. Oh, you're using too much energy. You seem to like it at a nice, cool 69 degrees. Nice. But because energy is tough for us, we're going to ask that you use 72%, that you leave it at 72 degrees, maybe 74 degrees. 69, nice, is a little too much. And we need to conserve our energy. They want to come into your house and control the temperature in your home. Do you know how asinine that sounds? The idea that that's even an idea to put out there, the fact that there are actually people in the government and governments that think it's okay for the government to control the temperature in your house? That's crazy. They want to control the temperature. Soon, they're going to tell you when you can piss. They want full control of everything. I have security cameras at home. I have security cameras on my house, but I use a closed environment, so my footage doesn't actually go into a central database. Everything stays internal, and then I'm able to remote in and see my footage, so that I own the footage, so that I am in charge of it, because I don't want anyone else to have access to my footage. It's my footage. I should be the one seeing it, not Ring. I think having Ring is really dangerous. Why? Because they want to come in and change the temperature of your house. It seems so stupid. It seems so trivial, but you can see where that leads, right? How big of a problem that can be. It's a little too cool in your house. It's summertime. Like, you should not have it that cold. I don't care if you're hot. let's see. The 6 million seems a ridiculous big number. It is a big number. Anyone that actually goes through some math, it's really hard to justify, and it's also misleading because the people say 6 million is not a real number. Well, the claim wasn't that 6 million. I don't want to get kicked off. It's numbers are. The thing about numbers is that people believe numbers. It's also that they're easily manipulated, and how you explain them and how you tell a story with numbers is very easy to change the perception. When is a video about IQ coming out? We got to do it soon. You know, we probably have to do it after we get out of YouTube jail, because we are currently in a YouTube timeout. We have a strike on our channel right now, and I feel like if we do an IQ video, that may get taken down, or we may get in trouble for that one. So we probably have to wait until our strike clears. I mean, I already talked about the 6M number, which may get me kicked off again anyway. So. Be careful discussing that number on YouTube. I agree. Let's see here. They're listening. Everyone says be careful on YouTube. Non-denominational is the way to go. I am non-denominational. No, my wife goes to a global Methodist church. She likes it there, and I'll go there from time to time. But I am very non-denominational. I'm over institutions in general. I think a lot of people feel that way, you know. Oh yeah, we're all stuck on this number now. Everything is. Speak of the Mossad and they appear. It's true. They're everywhere, but they're not everywhere, but they are everywhere. You know, look. Welcome. Welcome, buddy. I have security cameras in my toilet. Everyone has their own kinks in life. You know what I mean? Some people enjoy certain things more than the other. But, you know, is it just me, or are there a lot of Matthew Kims in here? Or is it just one? Do we have one Matthew Kim in here, or are there like multiples of you? Thoughts on Trump reading? We kind of talked about this a little bit earlier, but I hate this. I hate this so much because I'm super anti-war. I don't think governments should be just killing people arbitrarily. I just don't think that's a good thing. I try to be a good person in my life, and yeah, I talk a lot of shit, but I don't want to be responsible for just killing people. I feel like if you're okay with it, like it weighs on your heart, and I'm worried that one day like I'll be judged for it. I'm not okay with governments just killing innocent people. I'm just not. And war ends up being the murdering of innocent people. Even soldiers, if you're the soldier for the good side, if there is a good side, if you're a soldier for the bad side, if you are a bad side, you don't even know the reality of why you're actually fighting. You fight based on the premise of the propaganda that the government tells you to make sure that you will fight for them. They don't tell you the truth when you fight. They tell you what you need to hear to convince you to fight. And they tell you it's for your country, but that's not true. You don't fight for your country. Well, the soldiers fight for their country. The soldiers fight for their families. The soldiers fight for greater ideologies. But that's on both sides. The reality is, soldiers fight because the people that want you to fight are too scared to fight themselves. And the only people that die are people that are innocent. Because the soldiers, they don't create the war. The people that die and the innocent people that become stuck in the crossfire, they didn't ask for that shit. And the one thing of anything that I thought Trump would do in this new election is when he said no new wars and that he would stop the wars, I actually believed him. I really thought that he wouldn't go into more war and that he would figure out a way to stop the ones he had, at least at minimum of all the things he's promised to do. That's the one that I believed him on. And it's just so blatant. They don't give a fuck at all. They have no problem with war. They have no interest in stopping the war in Ukraine and Russia. They have no interest in stopping the war in Palestine. They have no problem starting new wars. They have no problem funding new wars. They don't care at all, and they will make up any excuse possible to justify more war. They will spend your tax dollars to kill more people. I'm not okay with that, actually. I don't feel good about that. It's like, and I don't know if Kamala would have been any better or worse on that. Maybe it would have been the same. Maybe it would have happened regardless. Maybe there's nothing to do to stop that, possibly. It doesn't actually matter because I'm not okay with that. I'm just not okay with it. And this idea of changing Secretary of Defense to Secretary of War, I think it should be Secretary of Defense. I think the purpose of the military should be to protect the borders and make sure no one attacks this country. I am over. If they attack us and you have to protect it and you have to fight, I get it. This fighting wars and international and foreign, these fighting foreign wars, it actually hasn't made our lives better. We just spend more. They use that to give us more, create more laws, more regulation, more control mechanisms. War has never benefited the United States people. Only the people in charge. I'm like over it. I'm so over it. And I hate to think this, but anytime I think about wars and I think about how they're going to go to war again, and I keep on supporting wars, and I keep on thinking about over and over again, I'm like, fuck, dude. I'm like, I was born in the United States. I was raised in the United States. I'm really proud to be an American, actually. I love it here. I love the people here. I think it's amazing. I think the people are the best. But when you think about all these wars and the thirst for blood for the sake of their own money and benefit and power, when you think about it and when you realize that that's exactly how our leadership thinks, man, it's really hard to swallow the pill that reality is probably in a lot of these foreign wars, like we're the bad guys. And that's a really hard one. Because I get that people, I have friends call me in all forms of industry. They call me every once in a while. They'll have these kind of these crises, and they'll call me. They go, Matt, are we the bad guys? And it's like a really honest question, you know, like, are we the bad guys? And I don't think we're not intentionally the bad guys. You, me, like the people watching, listening, we don't want to be the bad guys. We don't support this shit. But it's our side that's doing it. Does that make us the bad guys? I don't know. It's tough, man. It's tough. I don't want to be the bad guy. I don't want to be on the... It doesn't even matter because the winner writes history. And if you win, it justifies everything that was done in the past. It doesn't matter if you're the good guy or the bad guy because the winner writes history and writes in the way that benefits the winner. So in history, the US is always the good guy, even though we don't win wars. US is the good guy. But the reality of it, of what really happens in these conflicts, probably the bad guy. You know, it's really hard to argue otherwise, you know, in every single foreign war and conflict out there, everything you know, everything we've heard, everything we've read, everything we've thought about, like, it sucks, you know? I wish it wasn't that way. American people are the most generous, the most considerate, the most talented, the most encouraged, the most thriving, the most determined, the most compassionate people on earth. I agree. 100% I agree. But when we say the American people, I think we're talking about just the general population. The people who run this place are just, it's not the same. Most of the bad guys hate to admit it. Yeah. You know, I think you guys did it. My grandfather fought in war. His father fought in 2 wars before him. You know, I've talked to a lot of military guys. I have a lot of friends that are military, you know. I have huge respect for military. Some of my best friends are military. Actually, my best friend in the world, he straight out of high school, he was my best friend in high school. He enlisted in the Marines straight out of high school. And I was really worried about him, you know. I have huge respect for the military and the people that sacrifice out there because they really believe they're doing the greater good and they're doing the right thing. It's the leadership's fault for like using them for their own personal benefit. It's bullshit. Most veterans got PTSD, yeah. The people and their government is not the same. That's true. That's true. But that's also kind of the problem. You know? It goes back to this idea of like how do you beat certain small groups of people? And the reality is those small groups of people that are kind of able to achieve a lot, their people believe that their government is their people also. And they act as one unit because they have one singular agenda. A lot of countries are like that. Even though they fight, they actually have a bleeding heart for their government because at minimum, the government represents them, good or bad. The United States, we feel separated from our government. You know, we don't believe what they believe. We don't agree with what they do. We actually think almost congressional approval is like what? Congressional disapproval is like what, 90%? We as Americans actually hate our legislative body. We as Americans actually hate our government. Our leaders rank so low, it's surprising they get elected. I don't know. Can you shout out Sumo Dog? It's Squeeze's Dog Sumo. I think we did this last time too. I don't know if that's a meme coin or what that is, but Sumo Dog. Shout out Sumo Dog. You would think a democracy would represent the majority, but in fact, They represent the self-aligned, greedful, agenda first and foremost, pushing policies, insiders, sponsors, and insider trading truly builds. So we get into this argument a lot between, is the United States a democracy or is it a constitutional republic? This is a fight that happens all the time. And if you're like, oh, we don't like democracy because democracy is mob rule. I almost feel like making you feel like a true democracy doesn't work. The reason that they tell you it doesn't work is because they don't want it to work. Because they don't want to give it a chance. They don't actually want to give us an opportunity at true democracy. Because if mob could rule, the mob could be against them. It's harder to manipulate the mob. What would actually happen if the United States was a real democracy? Because a lot of conservatives will say, oh, no, you can't allow a real democracy. It'd be mob rule. We don't know that. You're totally assuming. You're totally making an assumption based on no evidence or no data to back that up. Because the United States has never been a real true democracy before. But you automatically assume because it's true democracy, it would not work. How do you know that? The system that we have now, which we elect a handful of people, and those people are supposed to represent us, but they represent themselves and the lobbyists, that system clearly doesn't work. It doesn't work. This idea that we represent a handful of people and they're supposed to represent us, but they don't actually represent us. They represent themselves and the lobbyists, and they don't represent us, but we elect them to represent us. This system clearly doesn't work. What would happen if we actually became a true democracy where people could actually vote and the majority actually mattered? I don't know. I'm not saying there's a guarantee that it'll work out well, but I do know that the system we have now is not working. What do we have to lose, actually? It could actually work in our favor. No, you can't have real democracy because it'd be mob rule. What if we're the mob? You always assume the mob's you're on the opposite side of the mob. Maybe the people are the mob. Maybe mob rule is exactly what you want. The Gaza war is about human sacrifice. Dark. Super dark. Super dark. Democracy does not exist. It's not that it can't. If there was 10 of us in a room and we said, what do you want to eat for dinner? And 6 people say pizza, and we eat pizza, democracy. It's not impossible. Do you ever envision a day where North and South Korea become one country? I would love North and South Korea to be one country. You know, after World War II, I don't know if a lot of people know how Korea got split in half. After World War II, the Koreans were worried that that the United States and USSR, the Soviets, would come in and try to put in their own government structure. So the people of Korea after World War II set up their own government, an actual government that worked. People's committees. It was a self-governing country. Then the US and Soviets show up and they're like, no, actually, we don't think you guys should govern yourselves. So the United States and the Soviets, they went into a room together. They opened up a National Geographic map. They looked at the map and they said, let's draw a line right here. No, there's no reason for it. Just a random line. Let's draw a line right here. And Soviets, you guys oversee the North. US will oversee the South. There were no Koreans in that meeting. Soviets said, we'll take the top. US said, we'll take the bottom. And then they said, we're going to hold an election throughout the country because we believe in democracy. We'll hold an election. And whoever wins the election will be the president of the one new Korea after World War II. They find out that the president of the leader of the provisional Korean government, who was actually hiding in China at the time because of the war, he said, I am not going to run if you're going to force us to split. The more popular candidate in Korea was Kim Il-sung, which is Kim Jong-un's grandfather. He was going to win the Korean election under this one Korea. He was really famous for killing Japanese invaders in Korea. Really popular war hero. He was going to win the election. When the United States found out that Kim Il-sung was going to win the election, because everyone agreed that the person who wins the election will be the president of the entire Korea, the United States said, no. We're going to hold our own election. And this guy that worked for the CIA and worked at Princeton and worked with us here, he's going to be the president of Korea. And the countrywide election was called off. He ended up being a kind of a dictator. He ruled for something like 3 cycles. It's supposed to be 4-year terms. He ended up doing 3 or 4, which he was not supposed to. And the person that was contesting him, eventually mysteriously disappeared. The Koreans rioted over time, 12 years later. They got really pissed off. And the CIA extracted him. And he lived out his life in Hawaii. The first president of Korea. Democracy. The Koreans had a government. They wanted a voted president. They did not get to vote the person they wanted, and therefore North Korea and South Korea was permanently split using an arbitrary map. And then now there's a bunch of troops there. Long story short, I envision a time where North and South Korea could be one country, because I believe it's always supposed to be. It's always been one country, actually, for thousands of years. And one day, 2 countries that are not of the country decided to draw a line looking at a map. A part of me says that's really fucked up. And they say, well, one side has nukes and they're bad people and they're gonna kill everyone. Actually, never in the 80 years of North Korea's history, they have never actually waged war against another country before. So oh no, you can't do anything with them. They're gonna attack everybody. There's actually no historical precedent to even make that claim because they've never done that before. But yet we're psyoped to believe that they're the bad guys. But again, we always are told and psyoped to believe that the country that is cut off via sanctions, but also happens to have a lot of natural resources, we're always told that they're bad guys. Venezuela, Haiti, Congo, Western African Republic, for example. I think they should reunify one day. I don't know if it'll ever happen. I feel like we're too far away from that, but I would love it if it did. I'm very bullish on that. Let's see here. This is North Korean propaganda. No, it's not. It's funny. Which country has nukes pointed at the whole world? United States does. What do you think about the military draft? I did not go to the military, so that. The United States has been a true republic before and it was changed into a democracy. No, we're not a democracy now. So I don't understand. I know. It says it's a republic. It's like a merge between the two. I get it. Do you think digital is coming to America? I'm assuming you're saying, do you think digital ID is coming to America? Digital ID is coming to America. It's called voter ID. Oh, there are people out there they can't get ID, but we all need a digital ID, and like they're voting without their ID. So let's just require everyone to have an ID, and that's the only way to do it. It's called voter ID. Digital ID is voter ID. They're just calling it voter ID because typically your ID is done by the state. That's actually how it's always been done. Your driver's license is done by the state. And now they're having a federal voter ID. Like, isn't that how interesting how that happened? You know? Oh, they're going to steal the election and it's going to be this and whatever. You know? All the people are voting without their IDs. Like, because that's the thing, apparently. Oh, you can't vote with an ID. Everyone has to have ID. Let's just make everyone have a federal voter ID, and we'll just call it a voter ID because federal elections are like the most important thing. So like a voter ID. That's a digital ID. They just got you. They just called it something different to make everyone feel really good about it. Oh, they're gonna steal the election again unless everyone gets a voter ID. Oh, great. Now we all got federal digital IDs. Good job. Asians will eat everything, bones, tails, eyeballs, and all. My, damn, am I gonna get in trouble for telling the story? I actually, like, if I eat, like, fish, like a fried fish or whatever, I eat the eyes. I eat the eyes because, number one, I think it's good. Number two, like, it's supposed to be really good for your brain and your memory. My daughter, when she was, like, 1 year old, saw me eat the eyes. And now every time we eat fish, she like wants the eyes. She's like really adamant about it. And she's like 3 now. She's like, Dad, I want the eyes. You gotta give me the eyes. So first thing we do when we eat fish is I pick out the eyes and I give her the eyes and she eats them. But it's really good for you. Fish eyes have, because it's a little bone in there, actually, it's a little cartilage. So it's got a little bit of crunch to it, actually. It's a little salty, but it's got a little crunch to it. It doesn't really taste like much. It's not overly strong flavor. And once you eat them a couple times, like once you get used to the idea of like picking an eye out and eating it, no, it's supposed to be really good for your brain and your memory. That's just what I know. So I ate it. Love listening while working out. And when I was explaining the SAR thing, I was helping the viewer understand it. I know. I'm just kidding. Do not redeem. Asians eat chicken feet for breakfast. I don't like chicken feet. A lot of Koreans and Chinese eat chicken feet. And really, you're not eating the feet, for context. People eat the cartilage that's connected to the bone of the feet. So you're actually eating the gelatinous cartilage. It's like eating oxtail or whatever. It's like the gelatinous part. That's what you're eating. And I don't know. I don't like the idea of sucking on chicken toes. So it's not my thing. It's not, but I know a lot of people that eat chicken feet. But usually you like have it with some sort of like really heavy type of sauce or something spicy, and you're really eating it for the sauce and eating the gelatinousness of it. Is that the thing? Gelatinous thing? Eye tacos. Is South Korean catastrophic birth rates due to late stage capitalism? I think it's capitalism. I think it's consumerism. I think it is the effects of over technology. I think it's a combination of all of it, actually. Don't keep a pet dog. I don't trust y'all when you get hungry. I've had a lot of dogs in my life. I used to have, in college, I had a German Shepherd. And then after that, I had a Labrador. My Labrador actually passed recently. She was 14. I bought a Labrador. And then I had a Great Dane. And the Great Dane died when he was 5 years old. We took our Great Dane in to get his teeth cleaned. And usually when you do a teeth cleaning at one of these vet places, they give your dog anesthesia so that they go to sleep so they can get in there and deep clean their teeth. I took my dog, my Great Dane, my 140-pound Great Dane, to the vet to get his teeth cleaned, and he never woke up from the anesthesia. It was like one of the hardest days of my life, man. Let me tell you, because he was only 5. He's 140 pounds. It's like having a person in your house. And I love that dog so much. And we took him to the vet and just didn't wake up. And I brought my Great Dane and my lab to the vet at the same time to get the teeth cleaned. And they did the Great Dane first, did the anesthesia, killed my dog. And they called me to say, hey, we have a problem. Like your Great Dane, the Great Dane dropped off to get his teeth cleaned. Well, he died. I'm like, oh, what the fuck, And then they have the audacity to ask me, oh, by the way, do you want us to put your lab to sleep and clean her teeth too? I'm like, no, give my fucking dog back. What are you talking about? Are you kidding me? How are you going to call me and tell me that my dog died from the anesthesia and then ask me if I want to do the anesthesia to my other dog? It was like torched. Horrible. Horrible, man. Let's see. The CIA and Pentagon, from Hey You, the CIA and Pentagon has been interfering, manipulating in foreign governments since World War II. That's why Kennedy was taken out. He was a wrench in the system. I agree. To be honest, to see everything going on in Korea, I think that the Pentagon and CIA is involved in what's going on in Korea with the martial law thing that happened. I really do believe that. I think they were involved because when a president calls martial law, the way that the government works in Korea and the military ones, that the U.S. military takes command of Korea, actually. That's just the way it's structured. I think they're going away from that, trying to, but that's the way it is. So for the 36 hours of martial, or 24 hours of martial law, the U.S. military was in charge of the Korean military. That is too much of a coincidence with everything going on in the world to say that was not planned. Is there an animal Asians don't eat? Asking for me. Huh. I'm trying to think what wouldn't be in. I think it depends on the country. Like I know in China they eat cat, but in Korea they don't eat cat. I don't know as much about the other Southeast Asian countries. I know more about Korea and China than I do the other countries. But I know in China they eat cat, in Korea they don't eat cat. So I guess that makes sense. Cat. Nigerian nightmares. Individual pros and cons of North and South Korea if they night. A pro would be that it would solve the Korean population and birth rate problem. So North Korea has a more normalized birth rate. I think it's like 1.6 or something like that. It's actually pretty normal of what else in the world. And Korea's birth rate is 0.7. So that would balance it out. South Korea actually doesn't have a lot of natural resources available to them. So they import almost everything into that country to self-sustain. There's not a lot that's natural except rice. North Korea has a lot of resources. So that would actually help out South Korea as well. And yeah, so actually there's a net get benefit for both sides. The cons would be that there is such a income discrepancy between the North and the South that South Koreans would have to sacrifice a good percentage of their income, at least immediately, to support the disparity of economy in the North. So do people want to sacrifice for the greater good? Probably not. Do people want to go into a harder time for the greater good of the entire country? It looks like no, because that would be the biggest risk. That would be the con over the South side. As far as the geopolitical thing, I mean, North Korea has nukes, South Korea doesn't have nukes. So joining with a country that has nukes is like a good thing because nukes is the only thing that keeps your country like protected. Actually, every country in the world like aspires to have nukes because nukes is really what protects you. Without nukes, like you don't have that's the only real deterrent in the world, nukes. So that would be the pro, I guess, as well. Is Eyes Wide Shut a movie about Asian eyes? My eyes are really small. My daughter's eyes have really small. I really feel bad for her. She's a girl. My wife has big eyes, and I don't. So when we had our daughter, we were like, man, I really hope my daughter has like my wife's eyes, because like my wife's like nice, pretty eyes. I have like really small, like ugly eyes. And I was like really hoping, but she was born and her eyes are like exactly like mine, and I feel bad for her. Not because I'm like against small eyes, but like I like really small eyes. I tried to do LASIK once. I've told this story before. I tried to do LASIK once. And I went to this LASIK center or whatever here in Georgia. And I go in and I make the appointment, I pay them and everything. And I do the consultation and I show up to do the procedure to get LASIK done. I sit down, I'm laying there in the bed. I'm like, all right, like let's go time. Let's get this thing done. It's like I don't know what they do. They're like zap my eyes, lasers. Like I'm like getting myself ready to do it. The doctor comes in. He's like, oh, actually, we're not gonna be able to do the procedure. I'm like, what? Why not? He's like, actually, your eye sockets are too small, and the machine that we have to like prop your eyes open like wouldn't fit. So I'm sorry, but we're gonna have to give you a refund. We can't do your LASIK. So I never got LASIK. Maybe a good thing because I don't think I want to do it anymore. But that's what happened. So there was an actual time in my life where my eyes were actually too small to get a procedure, which is crazy. And my wife looked at the doctor like, this motherfucking racist. You know what I mean? I'm like, no, like I get it. I kind of makes sense. It is what it is. I think I see the same as everybody. You know, I don't know. My eyes are like pretty bad just in general. So I don't know. I wonder if my eyes are bigger, I would see better. I don't know that actually. That seems like such a stupid racist question. I know. Maybe I don't have the best eyesight, and I don't see overly well at nighttime. I do have like a slight astigmatism in my eye, so I don't love driving at night because I don't see that clearly at nighttime. And I wonder if my eyes were bigger, I would see better at night. I don't know. Let's see. Do you think they're trying to normalize martial law? Of course. They're 100% trying to normalize martial law all over the world, by the way. I mean, we literally had it in this country, in the United States. How long ago was that? Shirley Machines got better. No, that was maybe 6 or 7 years ago that I tried to do that. I'd be dapper with glasses. I should wear my glasses one day. I do have glasses. I actually really have bad eyes. Speak about real matters. Forget eyes. Eyes are important. Eyes are important. We can joke about the eyes and the names. Yeah, it's 12:30. We're going a while tonight. I think I'll go to bed, guys. 2.5 hours. Thank you, everybody. Appreciate you guys. It's been fun. I really enjoyed this. I really enjoyed hanging out with you guys. If you guys want to make it a regular thing, let me know. I think it would be fun to maybe do this once a week. I feel like a lot of people were hanging out for a good time. So it's been really good. What's a good Korean swear word? I'm going to end you on a good Korean swear word. A good Korean swear word is 시발. 시발. 시발 is like something you say like, it's kind of like the American equivalent of fuck, where it has like a lot of meanings that you can do it. It's like shit, but it's like damn, it's like no, whatever. And you call someone like a shibarasaki, it's like you calling someone like a fucker, you know? So shibar is the best Korean, like all, it's the Korean equivalent of fuck, if that makes sense. Shibar. Thank you guys. Appreciate you guys. And we'll do it again soon. I had a good time. Thank you, everybody. And yeah. Check in SARS.